Um, we are discussing the chemistry of heterocyclic compounds. As you know, we completed the nomenclature, we completed the uh, rectosynthetic approach towards the heterocycles. Today, what we'll do is we'll not delay further. We'll just straightforward jump to the topic of pyridine. So we'll see the chemistry of pyridine today, and the remaining part will be discussed in the following classes. So today's class I'll try to cover uh, the pyridine structure reactivity correlation. We'll see the different synthetic groups. We'll try to look at the reaction with respect to like electrophiles, so electrophilic reactions. Uh, that reactions based on nitrogen-centered reactions, and we have carbon-centered reactions. Uh, the carbon-centered reactions particularly will be looking at nitration, sulfonation, and halogenation. So this is just the beginning of the class related to pyridine. Now, if we look at pyridine, you know that is isoelectronic with respect to like pi cloud, similar to like benzene that you know. If you look at the bond length, what we find here is that the carbon nitrogen bond length is 1.34 Armstrong. You have the CC bond, which is alpha and beta carbon. So that bond length is around 1.39, and beta and gamma, that is 1.40 Armstrong. So what we find is that alpha beta and beta gamma bond, they're very close to each other, whereas the carbon nitrogen bond, that distance is a bit smaller, and that you can predict that you have nitrogen, which is relatively smaller in size, its radius, with respect to carbon. So that may have the contribution for this smaller size of bond length. Now here what you find is that the lone pair of electrons on nitrogen is just remaining in the sp2 hybridized orbital, right? And this is not taking part into the aromatic sextet. So that means this lone pair is accessible for the uh, reactions. That means pyridine can have uh, basic property. Now, if you look at the uh, dipole moment, what you find is that pyridine and its saturated version, uh, pyperidine, if you look at the dipole moment, we find for pyridine is higher than the pyperidine, and that is obvious. You have the S character is higher uh, here for pyridine than the pyperidine. So your nitrogen is there, which is sp2 hybridized. Here nitrogen is sp3. Okay. So what we see is dipole moment wise, your electron uh, cloud towards the nitrogen. Okay. So this direction, and you have uh, the pi cloud can jump over the nitrogen, and actually what we see for pyridine is that nitrogen acts as the electron sink, so it can like take the electron over it, okay, in certain reaction that we'll see in the mechanism when we'll discuss. So pi cloud delocalization, if you look at, you see here, the pi cloud is moving on uh, nitrogen, because nitrogen is electronegative and it can accommodate. So what we find here is nitrogen is preferring the negative charge, and you have the alpha carbon is having positive charge. And if you further move the pi cloud, what we find is that the gamma carbon is having the positive charge. So you have again the alpha carbon is having the positive charge. So what we see here from overall pi cloud movement, the nitrogen is having the del negative, whereas the alpha, beta, and gamma carbon. So three different carbons are there. Among them, alpha and gamma, you will have the positive charge development. So pyridine, as I told, like it behaves as weak base, and the pK is found to be 5.2 in water, because this lone pair is accessible. Why it is weak? Because this is at sp2, okay, sp2, so you have more s character, so it's not strong, so it's tightly hold. Whereas in pyridine, this is sp3, so you have basic character is more. Okay, so your pK value will be higher here, so around like 10 point something it will be. So pyridinium salt, another part where we see the pyridinium salt also has aromatic character. Okay, and in that case, what we find is the ring carbon are more del positive character than pyridine itself. Okay, so that is one of the important part here. Uh, like you have nitrogen, if you have the proton donation, I mean the proton connected, you have positive charge already developed on the species, so that will make the ring to be more electron deficient. But remember, the pyridinium is also aromatic in nature. So let us look at the synthesis, how we can approach to pyridine. This is, as I told, like you can have different substitutions around the carbon present there in the pyridine. So here you can consider as the substituted pyridine. In the last class, I have shown how to approach for its electrosynthetic route. So what you can do is first you come to its corresponding saturated version, and from the saturated version, you can imagine different uh, bond cleavage. So this is, if you look at, you have 6-membered ring, so you can have 5+1 uh, connection, you can have 4+2 connection, you can have 3+3 connection. Okay, so these are the three different routes are possible. So we'll look into the synthesis based on these three different routes. At least one representative example we'll look into, and you'll understand the point. In 5+1 route, if I break down, what I can find is here, as I told in the last class, always you have to first give the preference to the carbon heteroatom bond cleavage. Okay, so that particular bond will be, your electron is not equally distributed, so you'll have the electron polarization. So you have polarization of the bond. That means you have electron will be more closer to nitrogen. So what you find, you can easily clip these bonds. Okay, and you can make this 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 together, and nitrogen itself as 1 together. So that is what we have done here. You have, if you clip these two nearby bonds, CN bond, what you'll have, nitrogen is having 2 negative charge, and you have the 2 nearby carbon, they will have 2 positive charge. Now this one, you remember what we call them as synthon, right? So you call them synthon. Synthon. And so we need to come up with the synthetic equivalent. Now this part is easy. you just need to add 2 hydrogen to get the synthetic equivalent. So that is one of the reagent, which is, we call it as synthetic equivalent of this N2 minus H. Okay, this particular species, we can take ammonia as one of the synthetic equivalent or the reagent. Now, what will be the other one? Other one, we find like you have 2 positive charge, and that are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 carbon. So 1, 5 distance. So you can put 2 carbonyl functionality there. So 1, 5 diketo. So you can have 1, 5 diketo. The 1, 5 diketo is a big molecule. You have to again break it down. So you can break so 1, 5 system, 1, 5 system. What you can do is you can break into 2 parts. One is, I mean, you can have 3 plus 1, 3 plus 2 cleavage is the best one. So what you can do is, this is 1, 2, and this is 1, 2, and 3. So if you break this bond, what you'll find, 2 position you have to have 1 charge, and you have to this 3 carbon, you have another charge. Now you can make a negative here, because that position negative is stabilized. This is alpha to carbonyl. So you can have a negative charge here. So that opposite to that one has to have a positive charge. Now, what will be the corresponding? These two are synthetic. So these two are synthon. So what will be the corresponding synthetic equivalent? So negative charge here, alpha. So you can just have proton, because you can easily abstract the proton to generate a negative charge at the alpha to carbonyl. So that we can see here, this is corresponding to this one. And what will be the other one? Other one, the positive charge one will be this one, because you have a positive charge here. What you can do, you have hydrogen here, you can neutralize that positive charge based on this. So it will be alpha beta unsaturated. Now you can easily understand this center, okay, can act as uh, positive charge, like del positive you can develop here. That is because you can move here the pi cloud, and you can have a positive charge. So that is the concept here. You can have del positive charge there. So that two are the synthetic equivalent. Now further, this one alpha beta unsaturated keto, you can break down from here and make it these two. Okay, so one aldehyde, another is simple keto having alpha hydrogen, 2 alpha hydrogen. Okay. Now, based on these, you can have final synthesis of the pyridine. So what you have to do, first these two has to react to give you this one, then this one will be reacting with, these two will be reacting to generate the 1,5-diketo, then 1,5-diketo will be reacting with ammonia to produce the saturated version, and which may require some oxidizing reagent to finally convert it to aromatic compound. Okay, so this is what we will find in the synthesis. So let us look into a particular example. We have, suppose this is one compound. If you break it, what you'll find, definitely you have to come up with two reagent. So this 1,5-diketo and ammonia, that is because you have pyridine here, you can cleave it by 5 plus 1 root. And then 1,5-diketo, you can again break it to have one alpha beta unsaturated keto, and another is just alpha hydrogen you have. And then further, this alpha beta unsaturated keto can break it from here to get it on aldehyde and another alpha hydrogen species. So you have this one. So what we find here, you have actual reagent. If you look at this reagent and this reagent are same. So this is 1,3-diketo compound, and you have, this is aldehyde. So one reagent is aldehyde, reagent number 2 is 1,3-diketo, okay, and reagent number 3 is ammonia. So these three will react. Remember, the reagent 2 will be of 2 equivalent. Okay, that is the thing. So reagent 2 will be of 2 equivalent. So let us look at what is the synthetic route. So this synthesis is known as, is a name reaction, is known as a Hange pyridine synthesis. So Hange synthesis, that is the 5 plus 2 route. So what we find here, you have benzaldehyde, you have 1,3-diketo, okay, that is reacting in presence of ammonia. Now ammonia, the pH is maintained as 8.5 in this reaction. So what is happening first will be the reaction between aldehyde and the active methylene carbon. Okay, so that center. So that is the Knoevenagel reaction, you know well, the name reaction. So that is making the alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound here. This is alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound. Now this alpha beta unsaturated carbon compound is reacting with another molecule of 1,3-diketo compound, the active methylene position is reacting. So this reaction is the Michael reaction. So 1,4 addition that is happening here. It is reacting here, and ultimately it is generating 1,5-diketo. So 1,5-diketo, whenever it is looking at, immediately you have to think it is being generated via Michael reaction. Okay, so that you can easily understand from here. Now what you do, you react with ammonia. So you have excess, you have ammonia available in your uh, reaction vessel. So ammonia is there. So ammonia will first make the imine here. Okay, so one of the carbonyl is making the imine, and you have alpha hydrogen. So what it will do ultimately, it will make uh, enamine. Okay, so this NH2 will be there. Uh, you have NH2 free, so that NH2 will react, do the cyclization with the nearby carbonyl carbon. So it is reacting, and ultimately you have OH here. So if it is reacting, what you will see, you have NH bond formation, you have OH here, and that OH will be taking one proton from NH. NH will be neutralized, OH will become OH2, and finally it will be liberated. So you have hydrogen here, so it will be liberated, and you will have the generation of a double bond, and that is we are looking at here. So hopefully you have understood from here to here. We have intermediate one intermediate. That intermediate you have to uh, draw. So you just try to look at what could be the intermediate. So NH2 is reacting here, and it will be generating the OH, right? So finally, water molecule come out and to give you the corresponding this uh, dihydropyridine compound. Now, dihydropyridine compound will be oxidized in many means. You can use different oxidizing reagent because it is very easy to oxidize. It will try to aromatize first. So what will happen? This way, it gets oxidized. Okay, so one of the reagent can be used as nitric acid to do the aromatization. So this is the Hansch pyridine route of synthesis of substituted pyridine. Now your job is to find out what will be the corresponding compound here if you have these three reagents. So what you do, this you take as the question number one for your practice. Question number one for practice. What will be the substrate, or I mean, what will be the product, and how the reaction mechanism will move forward. Okay. Now here remember the CAN is used here. CAN is used as the catalyst so that reaction can go a faster way. Now ammonium acetate, this is the source of uh, ammonia, you can think, that can help for doing the abstraction of the proton. So this way you can think, and you can try to come up with the exact structure of the molecule, what it is going to have. Remember, you don't have CAN excess. So CAN, ferric ammonium nitrate, is one of the oxidizing reagent, but it is catalytic. That means your oxidation will not be there before oxidation step. So you have dihydropyridine will be your product. So that one. Now, when you will have the dihydropyridine, you can use excess oxidizing reagent to do the oxidation to get the ultimate pyridine product. So this you take as one of your assignment. Now what we will see, the 3+2 route. Now in 3+2 route, if you look at these are the two reagent. Here if you look at the connections, forget about your substitutions. Okay, substitutions will be always there. So if you look at the connection, so nitrogen, you have one, this is two, this is three. Okay, and you have here uh, So 1 2 3, 1 2 3. So let me give you the product. So this is your product. So you are getting 1 2 3. Sorry, this one you have 6 membered ring. It cannot be 3 plus 2. It is 3 plus 3. 3 plus 3. So 3 plus 3 root. So you have 1 2 3 1 2 3. So this is you are getting as the product. This is the base utilized here. So what you will do is you will try to come up with the mechanism. So what will be the mechanism of the reaction? Okay, that you have to draw. So this is your second home task, mechanism of the reaction. Now you can have another 3 plus 2 root, sorry, 3 plus 3 root uh, to get a different type of pyridine. So at the alpha position, you will have the, if you look at the amide functionality here, so what you will expect is at alpha position C double bond O. So this is here, okay, and now here also you will try to come up with the reaction mechanism. So this is the, you have third question, what will be the reaction mechanism? So I have given the root. So you have to come up with the reaction mechanism to reach to the two products. So what will be the suitable reaction mechanism that you have to draw? Now here I am not giving the product. Here I am giving the two substrate. Okay, and you imagine this is again you have 3 plus 3 root. Okay, 3 plus 3 root. So what will be your product? Okay, so you come up with the product along with the reaction mechanism. So this is your fourth question. So question number 4 will be uh, you have to do the reaction between these two to get the final product. Okay, and you can depict the reaction mechanism. So this will be your 4 questions. These are the 4 questions you have to solve. Okay, now let us come to another approach. This is 4 plus 2. So 4 plus 2, always when you have 4 plus 2, you will always have the mindset that Diels-Alder reaction, right? And exactly in pyridine synthesis, we see 4 plus 2 approach. You can just follow the Diels-Alder route to get the product. Now here one representative example I am giving. You are trying to synthesize this pyridine compound. Okay. Now here you have two reagent. If you see, you have oxazole, 1,3-oxazole, and you have one in. Okay, so you have diene and dienophile, so they will react. Now, if you do the reaction, what you are having this as your product. So if I draw the mechanism, uh, generally the oxazole furan related compound, okay, they are having very poor resonance energy, aromatic resonance energy, or aromatic aromatization energy, so that are relatively reactive, so can take part in the Diels-Alder reaction. So here you see oxazoles are sufficiently low in aromatic character, so it can take part in the Diels-Alder reaction. Generally we don't find for pyrrole or thiophene. Okay, they don't take part in the Diels-Alder reaction, though you have the diene nature, but that are very more stable. I mean, relatively more stable, so it doesn't take part in the Diels-Alder reaction. Uh, what we can see in this case is you have this is dienophile and this is diene, so you have the reaction. So 4 plus 2 cycloaddition, ultimately it will generate this one. And if you just treat with H plus, so it will be protonated, right? If you treat with H plus, so this will be taking the proton, and now it will break down. And you have hydrogen here, alpha hydrogen. So this position is not hydrogen, this position is no hydrogen. So this is alpha hydrogen. So it can fall and it can open. So that is happening here. It's opening ultimately. Here you have the OH, okay? And this hydrogen, if you look at, this is acidic hydrogen because we have C double bond O here. acidic hydrogen, so it will fall, so water elimination will take place. Okay, and you have double bond formation. So this is the root of Diels-Alder reaction. I mean, using Diels-Alder reaction, you can synthesize the pyridine. So 4 plus 2 root cycloaddition. So here 4 plus 2 means this is 1, 2, and this is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Ultimately, the oxygen is not staying here. We are not considering, so that oxygen will come out as water molecule. So this is the one of the important route for the synthesis of pyridine. Now here I have given another question. So what could be the question number 5? What could be the product of in this reaction? Okay, you just consider the reagent properly. You have at the end you have HCl, so that you have to consider to come up with what should be your correct product. Okay, imagine this will be take. I mean you have the Diels-Alder reaction here. Okay, so now we look into the reactions of pyridine. Okay, and you have major two types of reactions. You have electrophilic and nucleophilic reactions. We'll first look into the electrophilic reactions, and the later classes will be looking into the nucleophilic reactions and other reactions. Now, electrophilic means you are providing E plus, right? So electron seeking species. So what we have, if you have nitrogen here, so what we'll see first, you have electrophile will definitely be connected with the nitrogen, and then you need to have excess electrophile, and that will react to the carbon center. Okay, so now the carbon center, from there the pi cloud will come, and the carbon center, the electrophile will be incorporated. Now from here what you understand is that to have the final product, that 11th hour you should have this electrophile to come out, okay, to have a neutral compound. Now, ultimately, the electrophilic reaction, most of the cases, it follows this route. First, the electrophile will be being attached to the nitrogen. Then you have electrophile will be attached to the carbon center. Okay. Now, imagine you have the electrophile attached to the nitrogen, and what is happening here? You have the positive charge development. Now, the pi cloud donation to the electrophile will not be that much easy, because we have now the ring is becoming electron deficient. Okay, and that's why you need a Hertz reaction condition. So most of the cases, the electrophilic reaction we see in case of pyridine, you need Hertz reaction condition at high temperature, okay, and drastic reaction condition. Now, to understand the regiochemical outcome of the electrophilic substitution reaction, uh, we need to know the proper mechanism where the electrophile can be incorporated. You have alpha, beta, gamma, three different types of center. I'm not considering the nitrogen, because ultimately our aim is to install the functional group to the carbon center. Okay, so you have three types of carbon: alpha, beta, gamma. So where the electrophile will be incorporated. To understand that one, what you have to do, you have to come up with the proper mechanism. And if you look at, if the electrophile is being attached to the alpha carbon, what is the situation of the resonating structure? And if you look at here, we find that among different resonating structures possible, we have one resonating structure where the nitrogen is having positive charge. Okay, when you have the beta attachment, the electrophile is being attached at the beta carbon, whatever resonating structure you will be having for the stability, we don't find any structure where nitrogen is having a positive charge. So there is no nitrogen having positive charge. And the third one, you have the gamma attachment. So if you have the gamma attachment, what you find is one resonating structure where you have nitrogen with positive charge. Now, the more electronegative atom bearing a positive charge is not a stable system. Okay, so in this case, the alpha attachment and gamma attachment, you have positive charge on nitrogen, so that 2 will not be preferable position. Okay, so that 2 is are cancelled out, so you have the beta position. So whenever you will have the electrophilic substitution reaction, what we will see for the case of pyridine, it will be the beta position where you have the electrophile will be attached. And similar situation you will see for the pyridinium also. Okay, what we look at for pyridinium means you have already nitrogen having positive charge, reaction will be more drastic, condition needed. So if you just attach what we find the electrophile at different alpha, beta, gamma position, we find the gamma and alpha position, that two center you have double positive charge on nitrogen, whereas the beta is having single positive charge on nitrogen. So beta connection will be much more preferable than alpha and gamma. So both pyridine and pyridinium, we understood that electrophile will be attached to the uh, beta position. Okay, so alpha and gamma will not be preferable. So alpha and gamma, that will not be preferable. It is the beta connection which is preferable. Okay, and both cases we will observe that one. Now let us look at the reaction where we see the N substitution. Now this is, you have the pyridine. If you treat with methyl iodide, what will happen? So this lone pair is going to attack, so you'll have this pyridinium, so methyl attachment, along with you'll have iodide here. Okay, so ultimately you will have this salt formation. For nitration kind of reagent, nitrating reagent, if you use this one, you have nitration at the pyridine. Now, interestingly, this particular compound is very beneficial. I mean, you can utilize this one in nitration reaction to other substrates. Okay, let us look at the sulfonation. So if you use sulfur trioxide, we will have the same type of reaction. The sulfur trioxide will be connected here. So lone pair of nitrogen is will react with the sulfur center. And if you use the acyl chloride, we'll also see the similar situation here. Okay, so nitrogen will be connected, will react to the acyl center, the carbon center here. So obviously, from this reaction, you can understand that, okay, as I was telling, like this particular compound is utilized for the nitration of other substrates. Say suppose you are using benzene, okay? So benzene, if you treat with this one, the nitration can be done in the benzene. Okay? Similarly, you can like you have here, uh, it's not like this exactly. This means your you have two methyl here. Remember, two methyl and this one, that can be utilized for the nitration. Okay? And this will be free. What you can do is here you have to remember one thing. When you are trying to do the alkylation or acylation in the pyridine via the Fredel-Crafts reaction, okay, where we use the alkyl halide or the acyl chloride, we don't find the reaction will be smooth. Generally, the end-center reaction takes place. Okay? Generally, the end-center reaction take place. Let me see what is told here. Somebody's okay. So not okay. So end center reaction will be preferable. So Fredel-Crafts reaction is not suitable. So reaction at C is usually difficult and slow, requiring more harsh reaction condition, more force. Fredel-Crafts reactions are not usually possible for free pyridine. Okay, that 2 points you have to remember. Now we are moving to the nitration reaction. Okay, so what you do is in nitration of pyridine, as you have understood that it is the N center which is more reactive. So if you use the mixed acid at room temperature, nothing is going to work. Even at Hertz reaction condition, if you look at 300-degree centigrade temperature for 24 hours, how much product you got at the beta nitration? You only got 6%. Okay, it's negligible. So it's a great concern that how to uh, increase the percentage of yield. So what we should do? Okay. Now another observation is there that if you somehow can increase the electron density on the pyridine ring, that may help the nitration reaction in a better uh, way. So you can have better yield in that case. So here, if you look at, you have 3-methyl substitution, and if you treat with mixed acid at relatively low temperature, 100 degrees centigrade, what you are finding, the yield is 90%. So obviously, this is the electron density, which is much more important in this case. Uh, when the same compound is treated first with the methyl iodide, followed by mixed acid treatment, we is we find is the reaction giving the product as nitro here. Okay, nitro here. Now these two cases, what we find is yield are okay, relatively okay. So one is 90% and is 70%. If you measure the reaction rate, what we find, both the reaction have similar rate, which tells that uh, the first case, the case one, uh, definitely it is moving via this route. Okay, so the nitrogen is being protonated. Why we are coming to this conclusion? For the first case reaction, it's not the direct nitration at the center. First the protonation is happening, then you have nitration. Okay, that is being confirmed by this intermediate isolation. Okay, because this you can easily isolate, and you know if it is forming, so you can further react it with oleum and nitric acid, means mixed acid, to get this as your product. So nitration of pyridine with mixed acid goes via the protonation at the nitrogen first. Now, how to do the efficient nitration then? So one of the important route is to use the N2O5. Okay, I think you know this one, N2O5. So this is the combination of NH3 and uh, NO2. So N2O5, NO2, and NH3, NO3, that two combination. Okay, so here you have generally this arrangement. So this generally breaks in this way. Now, what happens is, first you have definitely the NO2 will be connected at this center. You have nitrating NO3 here. At this condition, when the sodium bisulfite is used, so bisulfite is reacting here, so it's being sulfide, so 3H functionality is incorporated, and this is going neutral and it's forming. Now what happens is 1,5 sigmatopic rearrangement. So you have 1, 2, 3. So look at from here to here. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have rearrangement is going here. This is falling here. This is coming here, and then this is taken up. Okay. So 1,5 sigmatopic rearrangement, and nitro group is moving here. Now at this condition, your hydrogen is becoming acidic because you have nitro group. So it can easily be removed. So this is falling and H3O plus is coming out. So hydrogen bisulfide is, this acid is coming out, and you have the nitration at the beta position. So this is one of the efficient route for doing nitration. Second is another route you can follow. One is, if you treat the pyridine with hydrogen peroxide, what we find is that pyridine N oxide can be generated. okay, pyridine N oxide. And that N oxide you can remove by using triphenyl phosphine. Okay, so triphenyl phosphine, so this oxide O minus can react here, so you'll have triphenyl phosphine connection P minus, then it will fall here, it will be removed. So what you'll have ultimately, let me show you here. So you have pyridine, okay, positive charge, so O minus, that will be connected with PPH 3. So the O minus is attacking, so you have negative, you have a positive charge here. So this negative is falling here, and this is opening. So phosphorus has the philicity towards oxygen, so it will be taking off the phosphorus. So triphenyl phosphine will be converted to this PH3PO P double bond O. Ultimately, pyridine will be free. Now this route you can utilize for the nitration. In this case, though, you are not able, you will not be able to do the nitration at the beta position, rather you will be able to do the nitration at the gamma position. So let us look at how it happens. So first is you are treating with H2A2, the pyridine, which is generating the pyridine N oxide. Then you are using the nitrating reagent, so NO2BF4. What is happening? You are doing the nitration here. How it is happening? So this is falling here, now it is coming here, and this is attacking here. So this is plus, this is BF4 minus. So ultimately we have BF4 minus here. So this salt will be generated. So BF4 minus. Okay. Now you have this compound. Now this compound, it will try to go aromatization. So it will again come back. So it will be aromatized. So N oxide will be again coming back. So you have nitration at the 4th position of the N oxide. Then what is your job? You have to get rid of this oxygen. So what you do, use the triphenyl phosphine, and triphenyl phosphine will take out this oxygen. You will have the nitration at the 4th position. These are the two routes by which you can do nitration at the gamma and beta position. Okay, that you have to these are very, very important with respect to actually different competitive exam. So the another reaction is the sulfonation. So sulfonation of pyridine, generally if you use the sulfur trioxide presence of sulfuric acid, we see the sulfonation is happening here at the beta position, but the reaction yield is less than 10%. Okay, so poor yield, less than 10%. So what we'll do is we have to somehow come up with some reaction scheme which will give you better yield. So we find like uh, people have done, when they have done the reaction in presence of mercuric sulfate, okay, at relatively higher temperature, they found good yield. So around 70% yield can be observed. And in this case, people are proposing the first the mercuration is happening at this nitrogen center, and then you have the rearrangement. Okay, so 1,5, as I told, the sigmatropic rearrangement, so your mercuration will take place at this center, and finally the demercuration will take place, and you have the SO3H group incorporation. So here the what I told, the mechanism that has been supported by a separate experiment. When pyridine, if you treat with mercuric acetate at room temperature, this can be isolated. And if you, this one, if you heat it with sodium chloride, okay, aqueous sodium chloride at 180 degrees centigrade temperature, people do see the mercury chloride here at the gamma center, the beta center of the pyridine. So that means this 1,5 sigmatropic rearrangement has happened, and that can finally give up the whatever product you want to do based on your the negative charge here. Okay, in this case, demercuration will give you the chlorination at the center. Okay, in this case, the SO3 minus will be incorporated. Okay, here at this beta center. Now, this is one of the best route. Another route is when you take the pyridine, treat with sulfonyl chloride, you'll have the sulfonyl chloride reaction here, N-centered reaction first. And then this end center, this particular substrate is found to be reactive, so it reacts with another molecule of pyridine. So pyridine will react with its lone pair at this para position. Okay, uh, so pyridine N will react at the para position to give you the substrate, the intermediate which has been shown here. Okay, uh, so intermediate which has been shown here. So this intermediate will form, and now this intermediate will try to get aromatized, so it will fall here. So this will ultimately come off, and you have finally the proton will be liberated. That proton pyridine N dot 2 dot will be taking, and you will have pyridinium. Okay, and this pyridinium, you have the fourth position, this one, so it can undergo ipso attack if you have the uh, sodium sulfide. So sodium sulfide can do ipso attack at this gamma position. Okay, and you have sulfonation at the center. Okay, so first what you do, you treat with actually this is the salt will be generated, and if you do acidification, you will have SO3H here with a protonation here, and generally it will be remaining as, actually it doesn't remain in this way, you will have a deuterionic, so this proton will be here, so NH plus SO3 minus, so that will be actual compound. So this is about sulfonation. So general sulfonation is general way of doing is difficult. You have two different routes by which you can have enriched yield. Halogenation of pyridine, that also are not so easy. Generally, we find the bromination. If you do the if you for doing the chlorination, you need aluminum chloride, okay, anhydrous aluminum chloride to generate the Cl plus, and at elevated temperature, the yield is 33% here at the beta position, and what we find here, if you use the bromine in presence of oleum, okay, at 130-degree temperature, the bromination can take place at the center. Regular with only bromine or only chlorine, reaction will not take place. You need to have some kind of activator, in this case aluminum chloride, which is the Treadle cap reagent. So that is being used here to activate the Cl2, and similarly the oleum is used to activate the Br2 to generate the Br plus. So that Br plus can react at elevated temperature, and we have the reaction at the center. So all these cases, what we find, the maybe at the beginning the halogenation will take place at the nitrogen center, and later on it will be at higher temperature will undergo the 1,5 rearrangement, sigma-tropic rearrangement, to have the beta position reaction. Okay, so these are the different types of electrophilic reaction. What we'll look at in our next class is how to do other reaction, okay, oxidation reaction, how to do the reduction reaction, how to look at the nucleophilic reactions, reactions with organometallic compounds, what will be the reactions of specific reactions of pyridine N oxides, okay, what will be the application. We look into the reaction based on the photochemistry. So what will be the uh, reactions if we use the light, okay, what will happen. So different reactions will be discussed in the upcoming classes. So if you have any queries regarding today's class, you can just tell me. I can highlight, I can discuss a bit, and later on we'll otherwise we'll stop here, and later on we'll be continuing in the following classes. So tomorrow I'll be taking the uh, spectroscopy class. Okay, so do you have any queries? Can anybody, uh, so if you have any queries, you can ask if you have anything to ask. Any queries you have? So the percent of student attended today is very, very less. Those who are just sleeping in the room, I'll not allow to the next class. I'm telling very seriously, without any apologization, anything, you are just bunking the classes. Okay, this is not going to happen. Your exam, I'll keep tracking. So what I'll suggest is you, the CR and JCR, I need the attendance of today's class. Okay, so you look at who have joined the class and let other people justify why they are not attending the class. Okay, so it has to be very clear. Only 20 student or 22 student have joined the classes, today's class. So out of 52, only 22. So 30 students are not attending the classes. Okay, so in general classes, I find like around 37, 38 students are attending. So today is only 22. I don't know what is the reason. So I need the attendance of this class. Okay, so CR and JCR, you are requested to give the attendance of this class. This 22 students, I need to know who are those students, and remaining I'll see what to do. Okay, if you don't have any queries, let me stop here. By before the next class, so by Sunday, what you have to do, whatever assignment has been given in this class, you have to submit. Okay, and those who didn't join the class, you have the provision to look into the video and complete the assignment. But don't think you are getting video means you will be sleeping, you will not attend the class. This is not the way to do. Okay, if you are thinking that way, all people can think that way, and at that point the classes will be stopped, there will be no classes. So it is your benefit, you have to attend the class. Okay, so I'm stopping here. Thank you all of you who have joined this class.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.